Okay, so welcome to tonight's webinar. As you can see there, tonight's webinar is all about goals and attitude. And this is one of my favourite subjects. There's lots of stuff that I talk about in these webinars. For those of you who haven't been to this one before, and I think Kerry, I certainly recognise Kerry's quite new in our business. So I do a series of 8 webinars. As you can see them there, we're currently on number 7. And they're all recorded, so you don't have to kind of wait for 6 or 7 weeks to go back to look at number 5 or 6. I'll show you at the end where all the recordings are. And the first 3 are really about the retail side of the business, getting started with your catalogues, with your online selling, things that you should be doing in your first few weeks, building that customer base and so on. Then 4 and 5 about really growing your business, the residual side of the income of the business comes from having a team, and you can't have a team without finding team members and without supporting them. So 4 and 5 are about that, and then 6, 7 and 8 last week, this week and next week are probably more important than the individual skills, because these are the things that will keep you going when you've got the skills but you're not really feel liking it, you've had a bad day or a bad couple of days or something. And setting goals and the importance of setting goals and achieving them in building a massive business is a fantastic skill to learn. So I'm kind of looking forward to this and I hope you enjoy it. So what we're going to be covering is a bit about your attitude, whether you think it's important, I hope you do, and how to work on it, and why goals are really important and how to set and achieve them. So I'm going to try and whiz through this in half an hour, so I do apologise if I start speaking really quickly, but as I said, I'll hang around at the end for any questions, and it's all recorded so you can go back over it if I skip over a bit too quickly for you. So, your attitude, is it important? Well, hopefully you'll agree with me that it is. And if you think about it, every new distributor has exactly the same opportunity. We have the same catalogues, we have the same products, we have all have the same costs and overheads, we all have the same payment plan. So if we've all got exactly the same opportunity, why is it that some are more successful than others? And my belief is that the big difference between successful distributors and non-successful distributors is their attitude. So, quick example, how do you feel when you get up in the morning? If you're the sort of person that always gets up with a smile on your face, you leap out of bed and you say, right, I'm going to get those catalogues out, whatever it takes, then that's a great attitude. If you wake up and you think, oh, my back's a bit stiff, I think I might struggle today, maybe I'll put the kettle on, go back to bed and see if I can do a bit of work tomorrow, then you might find that there's always something that gets in the way. And a great phrase I remember hearing early on in my business is, successful people do what they know they should do even when they don't feel like doing it. And that's very true. So your attitude makes a big difference to your success in this business. Because if you've got a great attitude, it helps you to put your catalogues out if you're feeling a bit down. It encourages you to chat and smile with your customers, even if you're feeling a little bit under the weather yourself. And all of those things, and that comes through on Facebook and on the telephone and all sorts of places like that as well. Being reliable and cheerful helps you to build great rapport with your customers. And that rapport builds a strong and loyal customer base. And that's a great place to start your business. That strong, loyal customer base, and I know a few guys on here, Sue I saw a minute ago, really that you won't believe the stories you hear about how loyal your customers are to you. And that will provide you with a good steady income from your personal retail for as long as you want to keep delivering to those customers. If you look after your customers, they will order from you for life. But it's not just in the retail side. If you've got a great attitude, it helps you to generate your leads, to put your lead generating leaflets out if you're feeling a bit under the weather. It encourages you to make those follow-up calls if you're feeling a bit nervous or it's the first time you've done it for a little while. It can feel like, oh gosh, getting back into making these calls, I'm not sure about this. And those extra activities, doing that lead generating and making those calls, might just bring in that extra team member this month. And the bigger your team, imagine the compound effect of doing that every month, 12 months of the year, month in, month out, the bigger that team, the bigger your residual income. So just wrapping that up a little bit, having a great attitude will increase your weekly orders, it will increase your team numbers and your team's orders, and so it will increase your income as well. So it really does make a big difference. I hope you'll agree. So that's all very well. We all say, yes, let's all have a positive attitude. So where do you go to get that? I've got to admit, I haven't seen it in the kind of shelves at Sainsbury's or Tesco's. So you need to find some other way of working on your attitude. And I've got a couple of suggestions for you. The first one is your life philosophies. Now, I'll talk about this a bit more in the next webinar, webinar 8. And to be honest, before I started listening to Jim Rohn and reading some Jim Rohn bits, I would say I didn't really know what my life philosophy was. It was probably, let's see if I can get to the end of the week and get down the pub on a Friday night without losing my job. But there's a couple of life philosophies that I've picked up just to give you an idea. And one is about blaming things. If you find you're the sort of person that when things go wrong, you blame whatever the cause is. You know, like for example, if you're sort of struggling to get a pay rise at work and you're always blaming your boss, then maybe that's not going to help you in the long run, because you can't change what your boss is going to do. But if instead of blaming your boss, you say, okay, what I need to do is learn some new skills, start doing whatever I need to do so that he has to promote me. And that might be a great way to get your pay rise. And the whole point of that is you're taking responsibility about it, and you can do something about that. You could take an evening class to get the extra qualifications. You could stay an extra hour or come in an extra hour in the morning or something. Another good philosophy is about making a few good decisions every day. If you're interested in your health, and hopefully you are as well, it's really easy to think about one decision you make every day, which would be, say, 11 or 12 o'clock, you're feeling a bit peckish, you could grab a couple of biscuits or a chocolate bar, or you can grab an apple. And if you grab an apple every day, then over a period of time, you're going to get healthier and healthier. If you grab a couple of biscuits or a chocolate bar every time, you're going to go the other way. And it's often, I've heard it lots of times and seen lots of evidence that it's the small decisions that you make every day that are really important, rather than the kind of the one-off life-changing decision that you make once every 20 years. And the other way to improve your attitude is success. If you're successful by achieving goals every so often, every week, every couple of weeks, every month, every year, every time you're successful in a goal, then you'll be feeling positive, and that will improve your attitude. So we talked a bit about setting goals, and one of the things I want to show you now is just how I go about setting and achieving goals. And hopefully I'd like you to think about this and see if you can do the same for yourself. So a great way to achieve success is to constantly set and achieve goals. And there's just a fairly simple step-by-step approach. So the first thing you need to do when you're thinking about goals is set goals that are important to you. It's no good you setting yourself a goal to get a Ferrari because your upline or your sponsor is Bob Webb and he's got a Ferrari, and you say, oh, I fancy one of those, when actually having a Ferrari is not that important to you. What you really like is to have your own house, your own roof over your head, or you'd like to be able to have the time to go and watch the children at the school play every week, or whatever it might be. So make sure the goals that you set are important to you. And I'm then going to show you a little bit about how to set those goals, and then finally how to achieve them. But you do need to be prepared for a roller coaster. This is an up and down business. Like all businesses, It's not just a kind of a steady rise to success. You will have good days and bad days, and you need to be prepared for that a little bit. So, in terms of deciding what goals you want to set, it's really important to think about what is your why. Why are you in this business? You need to have a strong reason for doing things in this business, for earning the money, for doing the activities and the work that you need to do. Because typically what happens when you try and set a goal and you achieve it, typically what happens is, first off, you set the goal. You then think about, okay, what do I need to do? What are the plans that I need to put in place to achieve this goal? And you start taking the first steps on that plan. This is fantastic. Yeah, I need to go and put these catalogues out. I need to post my product on the 50 groups that I've just joined. And then all of a sudden some obstacle will appear. You'll have a grumpy so-and-so telling you that he doesn't want that catalogue. You'll have somebody posting something on your Facebook advert saying, this is just a scam, nobody ever buys off these things. You know, whatever it might be, there'll be some little obstacles. And these are not obstacles that you're the only person to have had, but I know it can feel like it at the time. And in fact, if you don't have any obstacles, what you'll probably find is that your goal is not ambitious enough. But if you've got a few obstacles, having a strong reason why will motivate you to overcome those obstacles. And I find the best reasons why are usually emotional. It's no good just having a reason why, a goal which is to have 10 team members. That might be quite a good goal, but it's not really emotional. What you're looking for is something that, those 10 team members might give you an income of £1,000 a month. That £1,000 a month might be enough for you to move into your own house. And so that, the vision, if you like, of being able to move into your own house with the kids or whatever it might be, is far more powerful than just saying, I want to have 10 team members. And I find almost invariably, if you've got a goal, a reason why that is based on family, that will be really, really powerful. So just want to give you a quick example. If I put a plank of wood on the ground and said, if you can walk along that plank of wood without falling off, I'll give you 20 quid. You'd probably say, easy peasy, easiest 20 quid I've ever earned in my life. You'll go tootling along it, no problem at all. If I then took that plank of wood and went to the top of the local 50-story block of flats and placed the plank of wood in between two neighbouring blocks of flats, so you're 50 stories up, it's exactly the same plank of wood, all you have to do is walk from one block of flats to the other. You would probably say, on your bike, mate, and I'm not doing that for 20 quid, I wouldn't do that for 1,000 quid. And I can understand that. There's this obstacle that's appeared, all of a sudden you're 50 floors up, and that would scare most people off. But if the other block of flats was on fire, and your young daughter was on the top floor, on the other side of the plank of wood, and the only way you were going to be able to rescue her was to get across that plank of wood to pick her up and carry her back, you would find a way of doing it. You might go down on your hands and knees with ropes tied around your waist or whatever, but you would overcome that obstacle. And it's exactly the same in your business. If you've got a strong enough reason why, you will overcome any obstacles that you find in your way. So once you've decided what goals are important to you, the next thing to do is how to set them. And a great thing to do would be to ask yourself a question. What would you change in your life? I'm guessing when you all started your business at the moment, you had some reason for joining. Can you, I'd like to ask you all a question actually. When you first started your Kleeneze business, whether it was a week ago or 20 years ago, can you remember what it was in your life that you wanted to change? Can anyone help? Anyone got any suggestions for what it was that they wanted to change? Oh yeah, Sean, I remember that. When you're taking time off for maternity leave, not wanting to go back to work yet, not wanting to have a job. Trish there wanted more money. Yeah, flexibility, Lucinda. I think there are some good examples there. They're quite common. I think people wanting more money. I always say to people, yeah, okay, but what would you actually do with the money? What's money on its own is not particularly useful. It's what would you spend it on? Would you be able to take the children out for a treat every weekend? Would you be able to buy new school uniform instead of having to have hand-me-downs? Would you be able to take them on a holiday to Disneyland Paris? Whatever it is that you'd want to change in your life, start to think about not just the money, but what you would spend the money on. And if you can think about some really exciting things that you could do, now we're starting to get into what are the good goals. And I believe that you should be setting 3 different types of goals. So short-term goals, these could be just things that you can achieve in the next kind of 1 to 3 months. So that could be just something like being able to buy a new laptop so that your children can do their homework. Because at school these days, so much of your homework you have to email into the teacher, or you have to do research on the internet. So if you don't have the tools for your children to do that, that can feel you feel a bit kind of stressed out that everyone else in your kids' class is doing their homework and you're not able to help yours. So it might be something like just being able to buy a computer, or just treating the kids to a day out at Alton Towers or something like that. Those are goals that you can achieve within a couple of months. So they're what I would call short-term goals. It's also good to have something a little bit more ambitious that might take you 6 to 12 months to pay off. So for example, paying off a credit card debt, or having a family holiday overseas. If you haven't been on holiday for a little while and you would love to be able to take your family all to Spain or Greece or somewhere like that, that would be a great thing to do, because again, that paying off that debt will just release a little bit of stress. Maybe going on a holiday with the kids is something you could all look forward to. It really gives you a sense of anticipation and excitement as we move into next year and onto the summer. So having a medium-term goal is a great thing to do as well. And also you should have some really big, exciting long-term goals. These are goals that are going to take you maybe 5, maybe 10 years before you can achieve. It could be just something like having a deposit so you can buy your own house, not having to worry about the landlord kicking you out when he feels like it. Or buying yourself a brand new Mercedes. If you like cars and you've always fancied a new car and they saw that shiny black Mercedes the other day, that could be one of your goals. Whatever it is, just make sure it's something visual, something you can think of. Having goals that just sort of say, oh, I'd like £10,000, that's just a number in the bank. Might sound great, but it's what that would give you. Would it just give you the freedom so you'd never have to worry about being debt again, or the deposit on the house or the new car? So setting goals, as I say, sit down. This is an exercise that you can do, and I recommend doing this with your sponsor, with your upline, because they'll have been through this exercise themselves. And sitting down with kind of using your imagination with magazines and kind of having a bit of time free to do this, I find this a really exciting thing to do. So that's all very well, setting these goals. You come up with a load of ideas, a big list on a piece of paper of all the places you want to go on holiday, but it's not actually getting you to that holiday destination, is it? So whether your goal is that laptop or the holiday or the new car, what you then need to do is work out how can you achieve that. And in order to achieve the goal, you need to make some changes. You probably need to make a change in your life, and that's, I guess, why you've joined this business. And that change can be implemented by achieving some results. Now, those results are typically going to be orders that you get from your customers, or maybe a bonus by hitting over your 800, 780 pounds of orders in a period, or having some team members maybe join your team. That would be a great result from some activity. So in order to get those results, what you need to do is take some actions. Whatever your goal is, whatever the results that you need in order to achieve that goal, you need to take some actions to bring about those results. So it's worth just trying to write a little list of what are the actions that you need to take in order to achieve the results that will deliver that goal that you wanted. So if, for example, the result that you wanted, your goal was a new computer, you might need to just make sure you put out 200 catalogues twice a week. Or if you're wanting to do it by building a team, maybe you're going to be delivering 500 leaflets twice a week. Whatever it might be. Obviously, these are just examples. If you're doing it online using Facebook, then it might be make sure you're posting at least 3 products a day to at least 50 groups. Work with your upline to work out exactly what actions you need to take in order to deliver the income that will allow you to buy that computer. And it's the actions that are the important bit in this little chart. If your medium-term goal was like a family holiday, then obviously the actions that you might need to take might be a little bit different. Maybe you need to keep blanket dropping your catalogues until you've got a customer base, at least 500 customers maybe. Or maybe if you're again looking to do this from a team building point of view, maybe you need to set yourself a target of talking to at least 10 people a day about the business. If you're generating lots of leads through online or through talking to people or whatever, the good goal is to make sure you're talking to at least 10 people a day about the business. A lot of them won't be interested, but you only need 1 or 2 that are interested to build a really successful business. So make sure you know what actions you need to take in order to achieve that goal. And if you're looking in the longer term and you're looking for that brand new car or the deposit for the house, then you're probably looking at doing this as a team leader. So you're looking to generate at least 30 leads a week, probably more. Maybe as you're starting to grow a team, you need to run a little training session for your team. This could be a sizzle round at somebody's house where you go through how's everybody doing, what are we going to move on to next week. Or it could be running a weekly webinar like this. It's not complicated these days to run a webinar. And if your team are further afield, they're not all local to you, then that would be a great thing to do to help support your team. So the actions are the important thing in this. And I say I'm a big believer in starting off with small actions, because if I said to you now, if you just joined the business, right, by next week I want you to have a weekly webinar set up with slides in place so that you can support the team, and you're thinking, oh, blimey, I haven't even worked out where I'm going to put my catalogues yet, then it might seem a bit of a big leap. But if your goal is something small that you can achieve, which is, do I think I can put my catalogues out tomorrow? Yeah, I can probably do that. Could I do it twice a week? Yeah, I reckon I could. So then you've got some actions that you're in control of. You can decide whether or not you do those actions or not. And by setting yourself goals which are based on activities, actions that you have control over and you can do, that will lead to these big exciting results. And as you do that, every week you get a little success. If your goal in the week was to put your catalogues out twice a week, every Friday you can say, yes, I've hit my target. And once you've done it once, you find you can do it again. And so you get more and more motivated. And then a couple of months down the line, what you've found is that you've hit your 10% bonus maybe. And that's given you just enough confidence to do this again. And you do it a second month, same as the first time. And you become more motivated because you're achieving bigger things. And then every year, you may be moving even further in the business. You're qualifying for a conference, or you're seeing your income from the business grow month on month. And that next Christmas, you know you're going to be having £2,500 paid into your bank account just before Christmas. What a fantastic Christmas that's going to be. And that extra motivation at the end of a year all started off just by getting a little bit motivated each week by achieving those actions, those targets that you set yourself. And all of this success results in a constantly improving attitude, because you know that this business works. You know that if you get off your bum and do what you need to do, then you will achieve the successes that you know is available to you. And it's just your attitude is the only thing that's stopping you from doing it. Now, remember what I said earlier, you will have some up days and some down days. So you do need to be prepared for a bit of a roller coaster ride. Because as I said earlier, if you're on a path and there are no obstacles on it, it's probably not leading anywhere worthwhile. quite often what happens when you start setting goals and you start getting excited about it, you sort of think, right, yeah, I'm going to do whatever it needs to be successful. I can see how this can work. And then a couple of things start to happen. You get those first obstacles and you start to think, oh, you know what, other people seem to be doing this much quicker than me. I'm not sure that this is right for me. You get a bit frustrated. You come across some negative people. People will say to you, oh yeah, my brother-in-law did that a couple of years ago. It never works for anybody. You're going to come across people like that. And you start to think, oh, I'm not sure that this is right for me. And this is a normal phase. This will happen to everybody. Whether you've been in the business for 2 days or 2 months or 2 years, it can happen to you. And you will start to know when it's happening because you stay away from the meetings, you stop joining in the webinars, you find excuses for, oh, the products are not as good as they used to be, or oh, my customers haven't got the money these days. And you start finding faults with the ordering system. Oh no, there's something out of stock. So, you start to go through this. But if you've got that good attitude because you've been successful in the past, then that good attitude will lead you to fight. It will lead you to think, hold on a minute, I'm better than this. I'm not going to give up because I know I've had success every week for the last 6 months. All little successes gradually growing and growing and growing. And I know that my next success is just around the corner. And you start to focus on the goals, not the obstacles. This is exactly what you need to do. And you go back to attending the events, communicating with your sponsor, coming onto these webinars, and you get back on track again. Okay, I'm kind of coming towards the end now, guys, so I just wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions. After what I've just talked about now, is there anybody who'd like to share with us what your short-term goals are for the next 2 to 3 months? What do you want to achieve by Christmas or by the new year? Anybody got anything they'd like to share with us? Ah, fantastic, Sean, gold distributor. So Brad's going to become a millionaire. Fantastic. Oh, Lynn's qualifying for India. Yeah, brilliant. I know that you're very, very close to doing that already, Lynn. So don't slow down. You're almost there, guys. Brilliant. Okay, so that's good. I hope you're thinking about those goals and not just treating them as something that may or may not happen, but actually looking at what activities do you need to take in order to ensure that they do happen. Okay, how about longer term goals? Anybody got any goals they'd like to achieve within the next 12 months or the next 5 years? Anybody got any big, exciting, what do they call them? Big, hairy, audacious goals? Brad's going to be a millionaire by Christmas, so that'd be great, Sean. I really like goals like that, being able to leave work, that freedom of time. Penny wants a 4x4. I used to have, my dad made me a little buggy made out of wood with 4 pram wheels on it. I'm sure I've still got that lying around somewhere. Oh, Lucinda, what a brilliant, I really love it. Hold on, I'm just going back here. Lucinda said she wants to pay for her eldest son to go on a school trip to Borneo in 2017. That's fantastic. That would be a life-changing experience for him. Oh, Lynn, I can just imagine you two doing that. Don't forget to save space for me and Sarah. We'll be coming around with you. Travelling Europe in the camper van while you're earning your residual income. Oh, what a fantastic goal that is. Guys, this is amazing. I really love all of this. Okay, Sue, that's very good, Sue. I like that. Breaking a new gold and getting a new bronze executive. So what would you do with the extra money that you would earn if that happened? Kerry, taking the kids on holiday, I know how hard you're working with this and I know how successful you've been already. That will happen very quickly. Yeah, Carol, I think that's a great one. Having time to do what you want to do. It's funny how your priorities, people's priorities are all different, aren't they? For some people, time isn't a problem. It's the fact that they haven't got any money. For other people, having that time to choose what you do is so important. And I think this business is just amazing because it can give you all sorts of different things. So my question to you is, are you taking the actions that will inevitably lead to that result? And if you don't know what actions to take, then it's not difficult. Just speak to your sponsor. They'll sit down with you. If you can achieve what you need to achieve just on retail, then that's pretty much you can do that yourself. If you need to start thinking about team building, then you guys are all doing exactly the right things because you've taken time out to invest an hour of your time learning a bit about how you can improve yourself. So you guys are already on the right track. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up now. Bear with me a minute. I'm just going